Oh man, I'm so nervous right now. Last board meeting, dude straight up crashed his car into the office. And now, it's just me and him. Fuck knows what he'll do now, man. Like, why is he just sitting there? And why is he so swole? Oh no. No. Don't look at his bulge. No. God damn it. I looked at his bulge. Why is he laughing? What's he gonna do? Why do we still let him make games?
Because I fucked that square pussy good, boy.
Kingdom Hearts goes against every single storytelling and gameplay design standard ever. Don't allow feature creep. Don't over-explain everything. Don't somehow give depth to button mashing. Don't mix Disney with anime. Don't hire washed-up pop stars as voice actors. Don't make the fucking browser game plot canon. Don't try to make emotional death scenes involving Goofy. Don't introduce time travel. Don't introduce multiple realities. Don't have two characters talk for 15 fucking minutes in a pitch black void. Don't make Amnesia a leading plot point. Don't make Amnesia a leading plot point again. And maybe, just maybe, also don't foreshadow shit when you don't even know what the fuck you're even foreshadowing in the first place. But yet, somehow, it almost sorta kinda works, mostly. I guess. The emotional highs still tug on people's dicks. The overly convoluted plot points with the clones, replicas, copies, alternate versions, and body doubles can actually be quite fun to piece together. And all of the horrendously convoluted twists still manage to land both in that "aw, you tried" sort of way and in the "oh my god, did you fucking see that?" kind of way. It is schlocky, emotional, downright bad, and absolutely legendary, and includes everything from shitty in-engine movies, about faceless hooded people, and games within worlds within games, and all of it led up to this. And fanfiction is fiction about characters or settings from an original work of fiction created by fans of that work rather than by its creator. This is a dry as fuck dictionary definition, so you know that it's true. What it really is, though, is just art. Very honest art. Painfully honest, even. In fact, it often tends to lack any and all restraint. There's no editors or professionalism, and it's much more directly inspired than standalone works usually tend to be, if those even really truly exist. Fan art, for better or best, is literally someone's pure passion for a property pushed to a point where they had no option but to express it, no matter how dumb or over the top it may be. And Kingdom Hearts embodies every facet of that ethos perfectly. As you see, if my opening speech thingy didn't clue you in enough, this series also lacks restraint. It isn't conventional at all and seems to conflate fan service with fan fiction and fan art to make the fannest thing that is ever fanned. I mean, for one, each game in this series literally starts with an AMV of itself, and Sora meddling his way through various Disney worlds filled with cooler than usual Final Fantasy characters and many a childhood Disney feels is incredibly self-inserty and servicey. And I don't mean that as an insult at all. It is pure, genuine, and nothing but raw, unfiltered heart. Even if that heart is kinda stupid at times.
Hello, gentlemen. It's Cynical Neckbeard Reviews, here to tell you why Kingdom Hearts is shit. It's basically fanfiction, and everybody knows that fanfiction is inherently bad. Fan expression is always lesser than actual artistic expression. Those two are very different. I know this because I talk about other people's work for a living. I also hate Disney and anime. Campiness and genuine emotion don't go together. Kingdom Hearts 3 is gibberish and plays like a PS2 game. Somebody please embrace me.
There's an honesty in being stupid. There's an honesty in not caring creatively and going fully for your vision. There's an honesty in fanfiction. Cloud, with the edgy bandaged sword and his one wing, is literally on some SS5 Goku DeviantArt tier shit, giving characters yellow eyes and edgy names with X's in them and having them wear black robes with only their hair being their defining trait is some fan art friendly Sonic the Hedgehog level stuff, and shoving all of your fave Disney and Final Fantasy people into one story is as Mugen as it'll ever be, aside from Smash Brothers. And all of that is again genuine. As complicated, bizarre, and downright dumb Kingdom Hearts may be, it operates under zero pretenses. You see, and as I said, Sora is probably the most blatant insert this side of Sonichu. Only what exactly it is that he's inserting is up for debate. And while it is easy to assume that Sora being happy to see the snowman and becoming best friends with Squall and being the chosen one who everybody loves is a vessel to have Nomura express all of that, and at least in terms of him living out his wildest Final Fantasy dreams unchained from other directors, it for sure is, but it is also a vessel to allow you to do that too. Fanfiction, after all, is also fan service. The writer wanting to fuck Kirby is enough motivation for them to write about it, but you wanting to fuck Kirby would be enough motivation to want to read about it too. And if there ever was an ever-present thing that pretty much every living person today has some modicum of association with, it's Disney. And I say that as someone who's only seen a handful of their films. Herc, Toy Story, Atlantis, Emp's New Groove, Monsters Inc., Pirates 1 and 2, and that's about it. I'm just not a big fan. The singing in that Broadway-esque style is like nails on chalkboard to me, and generally I've always liked my animation to be a bit more edgy. But even still, I know everything that happens in The Lion King. I know who Mickey Duck and Donald Fuck are, and I've had secondhand experiences seeing others watch some of their films. I've had plastic tat related to those films included in many a Happy Meal, and so on and so forth. What I'm saying is that if you ever wanted to player insert by way of self-insert into a property with everyone vibing along with it, Disney is gonna be your best bet. And if you want anyone to write said insertion, then you might as well take the guy who bullshitted his way into a company where his favorite artist worked just so that he could rip him off, wants to marry all of his own creations, constantly tributes the fashion that he likes, past the symbolic emotional pensions of an awkward teenage poet that literally tried to pawn off his shitty deviant art tier Batman OC, still dresses like an edgy emo kid despite nearly being 50, and wears every single one of his influences on his heavily belt-buckled sleeves. Also, he's hench as fuck. And the vessel that you do all of this through is Sora, who, even in the lesser games, can still keep his unflinching force of hope and optimism in the face of these shitty empty worlds. I love this kid, for he is the inner kid. Insta-welcoming yourself into his heart as is quite literally the main crux of the story, as well as a great contributor to how this series ticks as a whole. Thing is that just as real recognizes real, those with heart will do the same. Having heart being a tenuously poetic way of saying is good guy. And so this motherfucker can just waltz his way into this shitty remake Tron world and say shit like,
"The two of us can handle him."
Only for the people around him to be all,
This plan might just work, Sora.
dude just goes, and I love that. This twoey twink sums him up pretty well, to be honest.
I appreciate you saying that with conviction, even though you have no idea what you're talking about.
Hey!
Now, what's interesting about this is that if you, say, manage to latch onto this Sora, you too will feel like you have bonded with these Disney people. Hell, they even pull this with the other characters. When playing as Riku in this very entry, for instance, he'll end up relating to people's flaws more, reflecting upon his own edginess, and either teaching himself or them and you about it being fine to not be flawless, or to have worries, or to be upset sometimes. And with Sora, it's usually shit about helping each other with all the cookie-cutter friendship analogies that come with it. I'll get into this a bit more a bit later on when I'll finally catch up to the actual KH3 segment that I'm all too subtly building up to, but it speaks to that snowman-hugging childlike innocence that lies dormant in each of our hearts. No matter how cynical or skeptical and not down with this series' bullshit you may think you are. Kingdom Hearts was originally meant to be a 3D Mario type game, something expressive in its movement, putting fun first and fuck second. And where in the first game their take on this was a bit shit, it did lay the groundwork for a series that would indeed tackle that idea in its own way, by ostensibly being one big tribute, or one might say fan game, of many a fun-loving gamer girl game. It is part shooter, part platformer, part hack and slash, part JRPG, and part little bits of everything by way of minigames, tackling anything from racing and shooting to rhythming and parkouring. The base game built around all of that though very much feeds into that childlike innocence in that it mostly revolves around exploration and treasure hunting and mashing buttons either on or off cue to make cool things happen. Sparkles everywhere with big sweeping pans. You're always airborne and also this shit. It is often so over the top and ridiculous that it begins to bear resemblance to those fully unrestrained, edgier than the show, load blowing on the first and only fight Dragon Ball Z fan videos one might find on Newgrounds. It's smashing action figures made real, basically. Though that isn't to say that there aren't any layers to it either. Other people have explained those and I won't. But it is due to these layers that the game manages to have a very tactile and hands-on feel, using clear block and dodge prompts and epic jumps with auto lunges that make it incredibly easy to master, but masterable nonetheless. I mean, there's this idea in the Devil May Cry series, right, called cutscene Dante. Meaning that the crazy shit what he does in cutscenes sets an example for what you should aspire to play like. And Kingdom Hearts does something similar. I mean, when you first saw those blindfolded, edgy motherfuckers running vertically up skyscrapers while dual-wielding keyblades at the end of KH1, you probably wanted to do that too, just as much as you wanted to find out what the fuck. Only difference being is that DMC hard. As I said, aspire to be. And Kingdom Hearts just gives you the keys to the Keyblades free of charge, letting you dual-wield the buggers during 2's openings chapter. Surrounded by walls of fire, fighting a long-lost friend at the end of an emotionally draining character arc. The barriers between cutscene Dante and in-game Dante have fully shattered here. Scenes with emotional peaks will result in emotional battles, regardless of gameplay tact, banking purely on thematic integration. Basically, it's what those big, epic JRPG boss fights often felt like, but never actually quite played like. It's all killer, no filler, but also all blow with no bang. It's hype, fast, frantic, intense, and while in many ways also piss easy, it's still conveying a sense of high stakes all throughout its context. Pure catharsis, pretty much. Boss fight wish fulfillment, or perhaps even boss fight fanfiction. Oh. So, this series is basically a Disney fanfic, a Final Fantasy fanfic, as well as fan art, and a fan game of many games. One big, emotional, and slightly awkward tribute to unrestrained creative expression. Still, things are about to get even more salacious as Kingdom Hearts 3 is all of those things, but also by virtue of it trying to tie everything up, a fanfic of Kingdom Hearts itself. I mean, it doesn't start with an AMV of 3, but of the entire series, but also,
Look at this fucking title card!
KH3 has become fully self-aware and is proceeding to push my ham-fisted fanfic fan theory out of its every throbbing orifice. Everyone is here, for one. Well, except the Final Fantasy people, but there's another meta reason for that. That's way too much for this video, though not entirely unrelated, cynical though it may be in its expression. But every villain returns, even against the most illogical of odds, and they'll all get their time in the limelight, probing them properly in ways no game in the series has done so far. And all of the iconic moments also get flashbacked, recreated, and referenced. All of the good guys get their time to shine too, and of course, all of the Disney worlds get fucking dicked down to hell and back. The first world alone plays like a Hercules #1 fan's wet dream, in that you see the man do all of his iconic moves in top form, like slinging the tornado, punching Hades, fighting Rockchild and Ice Boy, saving people from burning buildings, and javelin throwing Greek pillars. It's everything that made him cool in his movie, only without any of the tact or buildup. It's just flung at you like a group of rabid fans to a pop star. Not to mention how it fetishizes the location itself, like... Just take a look at this. Even the original concept art doesn't have shit on this shit. It's fucking insane. It's worth pointing out, by the way, how across the entire series, all Disney songs are cut except for Let It Go. Now, a cynical, more bitch-type person would be inclined to think that this was a money-driven marketing thing, but, I mean, look at this dude. This motherfucker sings Frozen in his bedroom while dancing on the bed, and you know it.
Let it go, like my penis in your eye.
Plus, with this series spanning nearly 2 decades, people, like me, will have fully grown up with it. and so it will start to have its own fanable memes just as well. Like how all of the bad guys are actually important now, or how Kyrie almost pretends to be a person, or how these three motherfuckers get their warm reunion, or how even all of those shitty cell phone game motherfuckers are made super emotionally relevant at some point. Fan service is analogous to fanfiction, and when you're serving this hard, it's hard not to feel that Nomura may have been tooting his own horn a little bit too. Besides, seeing KH3 in HD and still hearing warms the cockles of my cock. Rarely do long-running series stay this consistent. Like when RE7 included the old cursor sounds as a joke on a key panel, people collectively start losing nut. But Kingdom Hearts 3 doesn't have to joke, as it'll always be there for you, self-referencing its way into your heart and yours within its. Which brings me to the fact that it's time to cross-reference the main points that are raised about the series being great fanfiction as a whole, i.e. it using fan-game, fan-service gameplay and self-insertion, with their executions in this game in a vain and misguided attempt to make a cohesive, well-explained point with like an emotional core and a message and stuff. So here we go. KH3 has all mechanics of the past games. The Dream Eaters, flow motion, the forms, the press triangle to wins, all of the steps, dodges, cancels, counters, and aerials, it's all here. None of these ever really take priority in that you can flow-mo all enemies, press triangle to win, and form like a motherfucker all in the same fight, but that's also exactly why its mode of play is fan service incarnate, with all of the less than stellar caveats it brings with it. What's far more interesting to me though is how it builds upon these aspects to fully fulfill the cutscene Dante 3D Mario prophecy prophesized by 2. Jumps, for example, are now automated so one can effortlessly parkour across hilltops and rocks. Wall running is now a casual feature that you can just do now because fuck you, who cares? And there's vine swinging, snowboarding, shield grinding, air dashing, and even straight up flight. Most games would show restraint and give you one or two of these, polishing them up to make a cohesive gaming experience, but fuck that. Just do all the things. I love video games. And it loves Disney too, as all areas will be super playful and interactive and immensely well realized. Like, right in the first world, you knock over Achilles' statue by hitting his heel, just so you can tear down a wall for some cheeky treasure, and you can also break all pots, crates, and baskets, pluck flowers, steal fruit, ride snowballs, steal ships, ride dragons, hijack mechs, No Man's Sky, and dance medievally. The entire city from Big Hero 6 is also in here and functions almost like one giant vertical as fuck Tony Hawk's map, mixed with Spider-Man tier superhero antics and pacing. The Pirates one is one of the better pirate wish fulfillments I have ever seen, combining the fast playful nature of Kingdom Hearts, like letting you dash to your ship from miles away and break giant boxes of treasure by dropping down from fuck off high, with the cheeky potential of what a Pirates of the Caribbean game could have been, with all the ransacking, towning, diving, and ship fighting that comes with it. Then there's Tangled, which is like a wee mini JRPG adventure, and probably has some of the most poignant directing, cinematography, and editing of the entire series. And Frozen has the mountain fully rendered in one big map, and yeah, sure, it is just a snow-ass snow level, but Jesus Christ, man, just the scale of this motherfucker. Mountain climbing with this freedom of movement is a resounding yes. In either case though, while all of this shit is great joyous fun based on its gameplay merits alone, it is also really strong in regards to letting you live out your Disney-based fantasies. I, for example, grew up watching Toy Story. It was one of those films that I would watch on the daily, as kids will often do. And so, being able to dick around in Andy's room, jumping on his trampoline, spinning his balls, and looking at the lovingly crafted post-it notes and posters brought many a smile to my face.
Your friends in one world, us in the other. Only one of the worlds is real, and the other is just really convincing.
You can't be serious. Oh, that's right, you're from a video game.
Guys, I think Nomura knows that we've been memeing on him. As far as self-inserts go though, shit can be pretty cringy, but how it's done here is honestly quite adorable. Thing is that the worlds react to SDNG and their cage stupidity exactly as how they should. Don't know if that's because of Disney executives breathing down Nomura's dickhole at gunpoint or not, but it's well written is what I'm saying. They bust into the toy box and Rex is all excited because Sora looks just like his Japanese animes. The aliens be all like, "Whoa, strangers from another world, hail the strangers," and Buzz is weary because he just be like that. Everything clicks pretty much, and it's hard not to play the whole game smiling. What's even better though is how the worlds are contextualized into the overall narrative. Sora goes to Herc, for example, because he needed to get his main boy mojo back through seeing Herc do shit. Kid gets inspired by Woody missing Andy and his willingness to do anything to see him again, which parallels Sora having done exactly that with his two childhood friends. And Tangled being stuck in her tower for years, only being able to dream of the outside world, relates to Sora being stuck on an island and wanting to leave. And Elsa and her sister are literally just Sora and Riku, you guys, with one pushing one away to protect, but also because Darkseid insecure and all. And the Big Hero 6 will do everything for their friend Baymax, which parallels Sora having just done wait, we already did that one. Anyway, you get the point. Not only does each world contribute something to Sora's development, justifying the insertion big time, giving it an actual place and some plot weight through surprisingly competent writing, but it also manages to tap into the idea that all stories revolve around the same basic human concepts. Love, loss, friendship, hardship, pirateship, shit like that. It avoids falling into the usual, "I'm the main character in the thing that I love and so therefore the actual main characters will love me" trap that many a self-insert, including the other games in this series, would fall into. Sora, in this game, always has to prove himself in some way and relate to the goings-on, thus earning the connection, making friends with these motherfuckers, not just being it because fanfic writing. And besides, his shoes are big enough for the both of us, not to mention his heart. So insert and relate away, I'd say. As I see it though, KH3 is the video game a child imagines when they think of the coolest video game. The game you hear about on playgrounds but never get to play. The game where you launch a pirate ship into the air only to then crash land it into another pirate ship. The game with open worlds, corridors, epic set pieces, and more explosions and sparkles than anything else. It is the video game fan game of video games that puts you into the big shoes, giving you the big key to the big car on a straight set crash course to your big heart. It is the best fanfic. And fanfic is a beautiful thing, awkward though it may be. Sure, you can make fun of it, but at least they're out there fucking doing something, and as I said as well, all art is derivative. Not everyone's this directly inspired, but in a sense, all art is fanfic. Indiana Jones and Starfuck were tributes to shitty old TV shows no one remembers. Your favorite artist has a favorite artist who they might suspiciously sound like, and hey, if making videos about something that you like ain't the most direct form of inspired expression, then I don't know what is. So, bathe in the awkward, I'd say, cause at least that shit's honest. And when I think of honest, I think of Sora chopping tomatoes with a cartoon mouse on his head.
All right! We did it!
Also, this video was purposefully bloated and front-loaded exposition-wise, only to then pay it off later in a questionably rewarding fashion. See? I can be cool Meta Nomura too. Bulge ain't quite that big though.